Very astute indeed, Mr. Perez. Just getting a little bit of light reading done. For those of you who may not know, I'm UFL Jim. I am here to discuss Week 6 of the UFL with you in my Week 6 preview on the UFL show with UFL Jim. We have a wonderful episode for you this week. We have an interview with, it'll be very interesting to see. One of them is a surprise, but we do have an interview with Patrick and the people. There are two people, so it counts as that. We are going to dissect game by game, very analytically, very theoretically, very metaphysically. There's a big in-depth analysis going on in the UFL. We're going to take an overarching view. We're going to get down in the weeds, and I can't wait to experience this episode with you. It's all about me.
It's the UFL show with UFL Jim, your one-stop shop for all things United Football League. We have a sexual
Cheers to you.
tension. We have
Not
the
the show.
heat. We have the power. We have the news. It's all here on the UFL show with UFL Jim.
The overview for Week 6. There's a couple key points that I want to put out to you that I want to get your opinions on. Which quarterback shine, for instance? We've seen some quarterbacks have a nice surge, getting some starts later in the season. Dresser Wynn, for example, in his first start against the Stallions was fantastic. Does he keep up the momentum? Jalen McClendon, we've seen glimpses of him back all the way to 2023, even a little bit in 2024. His first full start, he looked really good. Can he keep that going? Case Cookis for the Stallions left a little bit to be desired. Not the level of play that I would like to see from one Mr. Cookis. Can he get back in the kitchen and whip something up that makes me proud? Meanwhile, you have Jordan Tomu and Luis Perez, who last week showed why they are two of the top quarterbacks in spring football and also two of the most frustrating. They threw some of the best balls you'll see and some really bad picks. And can they clean that up? Can they keep that excitement going? I honestly hope they don't clean it up because it makes for some very, very fun games to watch. Meanwhile, the San Antonio Brahmas, what even are they doing at quarterback? They have a conundrum. Kellen Mond went from looking like he's figured it out and made some changes to looking straight awful. And also, they have Jarek Arantano. That's all I'll say about that one. Does the excitement continue? The momentum that we've built through 2 weeks now. Week 4 had half the games be very exciting. Week 5 had all but one. Will we get a full week of compelling, extremely close, extremely exciting games in Week 6? I hope so, but that's something to look out for. Can this momentum keep moving? Can the Brahmas do anything? It feels like they're dead. They went from the highest of highs, beating DC, everyone claiming that they had some momentum, to being dead. And you don't want a dead team in your league. It hurts, it doesn't feel good, and it's bad for morale. Do we see separation this week? Everyone's talking about the close playoff race, how close the standings are. Do we begin to see separation between the teams like DC, the teams like Birmingham, the teams like Arlington? This is a week of potential separation with matchups of the Renegades versus the Battlehawks, the Panthers versus the Defenders. Who's real? Who's fake? This is a very close thing that you need to keep an eye on. Do we see any more slaps? Do we see any more fan interactions that many would deem unnecessary and potentially violent? Do tensions rise, so to speak? That's something to keep an eye on. And then, do we get a new passing yards leader? Jordan Tomu sits up top. Luis Perez right there behind him. But Bryce Perkins is nipping at their heels. And this is his first full week as a starter. So maybe we get someone rising in these ranks. Something to keep an eye on. There's excitement brewing. There's a nice air of UFL going on. And it's a beautiful time. It's at this point in the show where I turn to Patrick and the people, where I open up my fireplace, which doubles as a screen, to the people, that is Patrick and the people. Welcome them. Okay, Mr. The People. What are you?
Go ahead.
All right, I'm actually Patrick of Patrick and the People. I've been a 20-year broadcaster here in Arkansas. I'm a stand-up comedian, talk show host, and just otherwise a goofball.
I'm XFL Jim. I know football. I talk all things football here on my show, weekly recap with XFL Jim.
What began your lustful interest into the realm of spring football?
Me personally, I got into football. I played football growing up, and the XFL came out. I've been watching it since game one. I was a game one Roughnecks fan. I was there day one. So and I started watching it, and it's way easier to keep up with the NFL. Those guys play way harder, I think, because they've got something to prove. While if you've already made it, you might kind of like to let off the gas a little bit. But I like watching it. My wife and I have been into it for a long time. We've been to 3 of the games. We were just at the Houston Birmingham game 2 weeks ago. So
maybe I should just hold on a second. there, that's right. Is that better? Yeah, that's
I like
better.
that.
Yeah, I know you do. To me, what I like is kind of touching on what he said. The XFL is a more honest sport in a way of speaking because it's not contaminated by all of the other things. They're out there for the love of this damn game. Yeah, they want to get noticed, but they're busting their ass to get noticed. And I like that about it.
As a poor Roughnecks fan, you must have very many opinions on one Curtis Johnson. Where does he stand in your book as of now?
Well, I think my take. At first, I was not happy about it because they were the Gamble Necks. They were the Houston Gamblers, and then they were installed under the head of my Roughnecks. I mean, I couldn't believe that they did it without talking to me. But so far, I mean, after last week, I have to give him a chance. It looked a little bit better. I don't know if it was a fluke, but we got a new quarterback in Jalen McClendon, so we were looking a lot better. I mean, 2-3. We're in it. We had the worst odds. We're not in dead last. So I don't know. I'm kind of sitting and waiting right now. But before last week, I was ready to see him go. I was ready to see some heads roll. You know what I mean? I don't play.
I think, it's time to get dubs or kick rocks.
What say you of the Roughnecks' momentum currently?
Well, looking at who they got to play next, they're playing the Showboats, and they're coming off that win with Dresser Wynn as their new quarterback. Right, I think he just started this past week, but they looked pretty good. But I think the Roughnecks are going to take it on this one. That's my XFL Jim take. I'm going to go ahead and say we're going to take this one home, and we're probably going straight to the championship after this one.
Is Shador starting for you?
Well, we're in negotiations with Shador.
Yeah, I wondered if he had fallen. Anyway, never mind. I'm sorry. That's inappropriate.
Yeah, we don't.
Shador's going to go to the Arena League.
Yeah, we're not allowed to talk about ongoing negotiations right now. Shador, I'm sorry if you see this. We don't want to put your business out there. We're at least minimum wage.
But we have another suitcase of money for you. It's $12.
Yeah. We made some offers. Okay,
some of it's change.
How do you feel in your mind's eye, in your heart's heart? How is season 2 of the UFL progressing?
Me personally, I mean, I still call it the XFL because I didn't really pay attention to the USFL because us XFL guys, I mean, we're just built different. I mean, look at me, us XFL guys, we're dedicated, but I'll call it the XFL. But in the state of the UFL, I think it's good. It doesn't seem to have that same energy. But I'm happy to see. It's cool to see, the Birmingham Stallions playing against the Roughnecks or playing against the Battlehawks, which the Battlehawks obviously have a huge, audience. The people, they love their Battlehawks. I saw something from John Gruden the other day showing the Battlehawks, and I thought that was really cool because I think they sent him a box of gear or something like that. So the fact that, it seems like it's starting to get some notice. I see a lot of negative comments from NFL only fanboy types a lot when I see, when that slap was going around. People are saying things like, oh, this will be the most coverage the UFL will ever get. And, you know,
My question would be, I do think league wise, I think it's really good. The matchups, it's interesting, the personalities, the skill sets. My question is in their marketing department. I feel like could they be doing more to get this out? Are they losing the social media game? It seems like maybe they could be doing more to get the word out. I still think not enough people know about it. And I know it's hard as a business, but even if you got a guerrilla campaign it on social media and just blast them, have every player post, everybody in the damn business posting at the same time, just taking over social media sites, taking over Twitter, taking over or X or whatever, TikTok, Clapper, what name all of them. I don't care, but just take them over and get out there and get the word out to people. I think that's what they need more than anything, are asses in seats and dollars in the bank account.
Yeah, and one of the things that, as a Roughnecks fan here in Arkansas, I see they do events sometimes in Houston. Like they're like, I think around Easter they were doing some sort of, you can find these eggs, or, but I can't make it out there. I wish there was more interactive stuff you could do online. Like, hey, share this post, like this post, win a Roughnecks jersey. That's going to get it going around, but they don't do that, and also allow us to buy. I mean, it probably has to do with player rights or something like that, but it's either player number 1 or number 54 is like the only jerseys you can buy right now, right? So, I mean, what's with that? I've got this killer PJ Walker jersey on from season 1. Epic, I know, but I wish there was more going on in the merch department, things like that.
I have 2 words for you. Super Bowl shuffle.
Is Super Bowl 1 word or 2 words?
It's however you understand, man. Listen.
Don't disrespect XFL Jim on his show, man. You know how I feel about that. I told you not to embarrass.
Don't correct me. It's sick. Anyway, yeah, I think it'd be great to see them get more viral, get out there and get the word out. They got to be more fun and more out loud and more in your face with it to compete with everything that's out. I mean, there's so much noise out there on the internet. I mean, everybody's competing for you. Hell, you get, the American Gladiators are probably back for the 8th time. You've got 100 reality shows. You got people trying to survive in the Alaskan wilderness, in the outback, making love to snakes. They're doing everything, man. You know what I mean? And so you got to compete with that, and you got to get out there and get past that noise.
With talk of slapping and spitting in the air, if you could take some person, one figure in the entire UFL sphere, whether it is a coach, player, media personality, fan, online personality, who would you slap if given the opportunity?
Well, there's this one's a bit personal. I don't even remember the guy's name, but when the Roughnecks, my Roughnecks, were up for renaming, they're like, I was arguing with somebody on social media, somebody, I think it was with PFL. And they were like, no, they're going to keep the Gamblers. They're way more historical. What now? What now? You want to slap on the, like, I'm the Roughnecks. I told you the Roughnecks were staying, and I was right. Even though they kept the staff, which was a huge mistake. Huge mistake. But
big mistake.
Whoever that guy was, yeah.
Yeah.
He's getting it.
Yeah, I'll slap him too.
Me or the guy?
Both if I have the opportunity. I have 2 hands.
You don't slap XFL
I'm sorry.
Jim.
No, I would. Oh, yeah, right.
I'm XFL Jim and his when you're not around,
when
you're not here on PATP, I'm XFL Jim in your stead.
I feel like I'm in a dimensional pocket.
Yeah, I bring that XFL Jim energy. I keep it weird.
Please don't throw up the cocaine and take your pants off, please.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, wait, that's not your.
That's XFL Jim. Yeah, so I mean, I basically personify you when you're not here, just so you know you're always represented.
I got shooters out there.
Yeah, I'm out here. I'm representing. I'm putting up colors every day. You know what I mean?
All the variations are being sent out. It's the Gym-averse has exploded. The timeline's cracked.
Yeah,
and they're all starting to just break out on their own, Agent Smith.
When I watched an XFL Jim video for the first time, I was like, he's literally me.
He touched himself.
Yeah, and then I was like,
dangerous.
Yeah, I'm gonna adopt his personality now. So you guys can
ask his wife about that,
Jim.
If you could say one thing to the big higher ups in the UFL, the Danny Garcias, the Moose Johnston, so to speak, the ESPNs and Foxes, what would you tell them?
Like I can't remember which commentator it was that said something about, well, these guys don't want to be in the UFL; they want to be in the NFL. You don't say that when you're doing a UFL broadcast. That doesn't exactly inspire confidence. That kind of thing definitely doesn't look good. And I'd love to see more asses in seats, because when they're showing those games, and it does take a mental toll on the viewer to see, well, it doesn't really look like anyone's there. Are people interested in this? I mean, you see the official stats come out every week. They post them, and they look okay. But I think that teams need to be put in arenas where they can fill them. And then in places where you're not competing with Houston professional teams. We don't need a team in Houston. Put a team in Little Rock, for example. We haven't had a team in forever. We had the Twisters, which were hugely popular when they were here.
Yeah.
But now we have nothing. So I go watch the Roughnecks, but not everyone's like me. You need teams in places where there's not 15 other pro teams to compete with all the time, and you got like March Madness going on and stuff like that. You need to put a team where there's people don't have a dog in the fight right now. You know what I mean?
I would say to Daryl Moose Johnston that I grew up going to old Dallas Stadium when it was Roger Staubach throwing the ball. Watching Tony Dorsett run around. But I certainly think very highly of Daryl Moose Johnston. I mean, he was an amazing player, but of all people in the era that he was in, he understands the sizzle. You get that. Look, I'm a recovered Cowboys fan. Okay. I used to sizzle with them. They hadn't sizzled in a long time. Those fajitas are cold. But meanwhile, Moose, you do understand that, and you should be getting that out there. You know what that excitement looks like. You know how to be in a franchise that's that big and that successful because you've been there more than once. Act like you've been there.
Looking now towards the future, going forward, what would you want to see from the United Football League?
I'm excited to see. I hear they're bringing back 2 teams next year, and I hear one of those may be the Sea Dragons, which is my brother's favorite team. And that's one of the things that I think a lot of people were crushed by when the 2 leagues decided to merge, is that 8 teams got the axe. So, and I get why they did it, and I get, they probably looked at it. We're 2 competing leagues with limited resources. Let's come together. We need to, pare it down some to where it's manageable, but the same time, 8 teams, you're going to end up playing the same people over and over. And then, it's also hard to build. I know the hub model that they're doing, why they're doing it, but it's hard to build local community engagement when you're not in that community, except for the game day. I don't know if they're there more, but at least from my impression, they really only seem to go out to the venue that day. And yeah, they do some stuff earlier in the day or whatever, but it seems like they need more local community engagement. And I think they would do a lot better, and not necessarily tiny markets, but smaller markets without pro teams to compete with.
Okay. 2 words, XFL gyms. Gyms.
Yeah. What do you got?
Topless cheerleaders.
Also looking towards the future, who do you see participating and winning the UFL 2025 championship game?
The Roughnecks are going all the way, baby. That's right. We're 2-3 now.
No,
we're the sleeper pick of the year. That's right.
Yeah.
Definitely. As much as I would like to see the Roughnecks, and it's like that meme for me right now. They put up some numbers this past week, and you've seen that meme where it's like, don't give me hope. That's where I live right now. I'm looking at it and I'm like, the Brahmas, we beat them, but they're a 1-win team. We've got another 1-win team coming up. After that, we might have some more difficult competition, so it'll be a real test. I mean, who knows? Under CJ Johnson, everything's a real test. I'll call timeout with, it's 4th and we're going to punt, but you got a minute and a half left. I want to give you guys a real fighting chance, so I'm going to call timeout here. Or I threw my super challenge to get your attention. I'm convinced that he didn't actually mean to get there. He might have been challenging something. I don't know. But in the end, I mean, Birmingham doesn't look as strong as they did. Defenders look good. I think they've only lost 1, so I could see them going. And then maybe I don't know. I'm trying to think of who the top team. I mean, like, I want to say I would love to see the Roughnecks for the USFL side, but I can still see it being Birmingham or the Panthers at the end. But that's just me. I have a feeling the Roughnecks won't make it to the end, but that doesn't mean I don't have faith. You know what I'm saying?
I don't have a Cowboys, but I can have an Arlington. How about them Renegades, baby? Huh?
Mr. Bob
How about them
Stoops.
Renegades? They might hoist it up, man. They might do it. You know,
This XFL gym.
look, they're
Lies
three.
the Roughnecks.
They're doing good at home and on the road. You know, I mean, they're killing it both ways, and that's what you need.
Thank you for your time, Mr. and the People. Where can the people find you to become your people?
PatrickandthePeople.com. We have the coolest people in the universe on our show. People like XFL Gyms
Yeah.
something like
I'm
that.
here
As well
in the
as
background.
Joe Exotic, John Reap, Jason Gann. I mean, everybody's coming on. Everybody's having a good time. Come watch us. It's fun.
And we've got the blocks coming up here in a couple of weeks. We're going to be
Amazon
filming.
Prime, baby.
Yeah, we'll be on it doing a show there. So and I don't know when that'll be out, but we've got that coming up, and that'll be pretty exciting. But stay tuned. And
Awesome.
maybe XFL Gym 2.0 will make a couple more appearances on the show here.
Hell yeah. Oh, that's it, baby.
That's
it.
what we got going on, Jim.
We, of course, begin with game number 1, Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern on Fox. We have the Arlington Renegades, the St. Louis Battlehawks. Fever pitch is an understatement for this matchup. It's a very important game, especially for the Battlehawks, who are already down 1 game to the Renegades for position in the XFL conference. Who will be behind the defenders? Will it be the Renegades with their quick start, questionable finish, veteran quarterback, and stellar run game and defense? Or will it be the Battlehawks with their new blood, running, gunning, man of the people Max Duggan, Hakeem Butler, and his freakish nature of which he is able to do things that no normal man should do on a football field, but it's so beautiful to watch. And also, a stellar run game and good defense. This should be an exciting matchup. This should be an excellent way to begin the week. And I'm hoping it lives up to every single bit of the hype. I do believe the Renegades curse themselves with these fast starts, these big leads they build themselves up to, and then crushing disappointments in the second half. We saw it with the Stallions, where they just couldn't capitalize in the red zone, and then we saw it in the Defenders, where the second half left a lot to be desired for the Renegades. The Battlehawks need to work on a couple things in the passing game, but I think their run game is very well set up. But the Renegades' defensive front is something that no one should trifle with. So watch out. Be prepared. This Friday game should be one of the best ones we've gotten all season. We move to Saturday afternoon for the second matchup of Week 6. On ABC, noon Eastern, we have the Memphis Showboats taking on the Houston Roughnecks. A rematch many people are excited for. The emotion, the energy, the momentum for both these teams drastically different than the last time they played. New quarterbacks for both squads, new feelings, but the same coach, at least for Houston. Meanwhile, for the Showboats, Ken Wisenhunt off being a time cop, who cares? I like both teams. I like what they showed last week, but I expect the defensive front for the Memphis Showboats to be the big difference maker. If they can lock down a sneaky quarterback like Jalen McClendon, it will make all the difference in the world. But can Dresser win with the high that he is experiencing from beating the Stallions? Do that again. Can he just do what he did last week again? He has his legs. He's good enough to win. The Roughnecks defense is not the Stallions defense. But can he do it again? That's what we need to see from a lot of these quarterbacks. Do they have the ability to do it more than once? Any one of these guys can come in, one game and dominate. We saw it with Quentin Dormady in 2023. Will we see it with Dresser Wynn? Will he flame out? Will the Showboats' chances, hopes, dreams go to die in Houston, Texas versus a surging Roughnecks team who are feeling themselves and, still coached by Curtis Johnson. So they could very easily lose this matchup. He will probably have a bad challenge. He will probably say something stupid on the mic, but it will be very entertaining. And isn't that really what this league is all about? We enter Sunday afternoon for our third battle of the week. The DC Defenders, the Michigan Panthers, noon Eastern on ESPN. The Panthers have a chance to silence anyone and everyone who are calling them potential frauds. I've been known to do that from time to time. It happens. When you take a look, they have put up impressive numbers. They have done very well, but their only wins come against some of the worst teams that we've seen this season. But going up against a DC team who has momentum, who looks to be playing like their 2023 self, this is a very nice test and a very nice chance, with Bryce Perkins named the full-time starter, to turn over a new leaf and have the Michigan Panthers sitting where they belong on the top with the big boys of the league, so to speak. The DC Defenders, on the other hand, need to keep up the momentum, need to keep the wins going. Jordan Ta'amu needs to show this Bryce Perkins a thing or two about a thing or two. And the Defenders need to actually start playing defense again. It's been noticeably different since Dr. Heat took his leave of absence. So they need to fix that. I believe this will be a high-flying game, lots of points, and Jordan Ta'amu will probably put the ball in harm's way at least one or two times. I think the edge goes to Michigan in the playmaking ability of the quarterback, but I think the veteran leadership of the Defenders, and I think overall the Defenders just have enough edges that they can just edge out the Michigan Panthers while I'm edging watching this game. It'll be fun. This will be a fantastic game like every other game this week, but I think the edge goes to the Defenders. And finally, we enter game number 4. 4 p.m. Eastern on Fox on Sunday. The San Antonio Brahmas have a chance to shock the world as they head to Birmingham to take on the Stallions. The Stallions are overwhelming favorites here, and for good reason. The Brahmas last week looked pitiful, distraught, like a chicken with its head cut off. They had zero quarterback play from either Kellen Mond or Jarrett Garantano, and I don't know what has changed drastically enough from last week to this week to give you hope. But then again, I didn't know what had changed drastically from 2 weeks ago to last week to go from Kellen Mond's best performance to what we saw against the Roughnecks. For the Stallions, they bring Cookus back out there. He needs to have a better performance. He needs to show better against a defense like the Brahmas. And he'll have opportunities because this defense for the Brahmas does stink than he did last week. I think the run game, I think every aspect of the Stallions' offense will be humming in this game. I understand for a lot of people, this is a rematch of the UFL championship from last year. But I don't expect either team to look as good as they did last season. Which means it's still probably going to be a blowout for the Stallions. But there's a shot, a small shot, that as bad as the past defense for the Stallions has been this season, the Brahmas get some opportunities to turn this into a shootout. And back and forth. And a very exciting game. There's a shot, a small one, but we can seize the opportunity and potentially have back-to-back-to-back-to-back exciting games in Week 6. I'm hoping so. There's not too much more you can really say. The Brahmas are such an unknown factor at this point that it would not surprise me either way, whether it is that shootout situation or an absolute curb stomping where the Stallions run away with this like 35-6, 42-14. Neither thing would surprise me in the slightest. But I'm hoping for a fun matchup. I'm hoping for an exciting game. And I'm hoping for the Stallions to at least have to sweat a little bit. Their run game is going to be great. I think Cookus will have a better game than he did last week. But I think their defense, especially the passing defense, might let the Brahmas hang around. This will be exciting. So, my winners for week 6 are going to be the Renegades, Showboats, Defenders, and Stallions. I'm safe with it. Those are my picks. And now we find ourselves at the precipice of a great week of UFL football. From Friday to Sunday, the fields will be bloody like the glorious battlefields of old, as players all over the league try and make a name for themselves. The excitement of Week 5 will continue, and we will boil up into a giant playoff explosion, so to speak. It will be amazing. It'll be affectionate. It'll be downright adorable. And that's what the UFL is all about. I'm so excited to see how the crowd looks in St. Louis, how the crowd looks in Birmingham. I hope we get some great environments in Week 6, worthy of the UFL. Hope we have a very fun time watching some great back and forth matchups. That's what makes this league special. What makes it sensual. But as it stands, I'm UFL Jim. See you after this.